Hey gang, how's it going? It's Brandon Devnich here from i3D Themes with this week's interactive number 73, where we share what we're passionate about and what we've been working on here in the i3D Themes Design and Code Labs. Whew, I just made it. Just ran into the office just as the alarm bells were ringing saying, it's time for the Facebook Live! So I'm just catching my breath here. So we're going to mention a few things that I covered in last week's video that are carrying over to this week. I'm going to share a little bit about what Colin's been working on and some things that I've been working on. Okay, so first of all, Colin has been working on a brand new design called Oxygen. The really great thing about this design is that he's doing it not just as a website template, but also as a WordPress theme. This is new territory for him. It used to be that I did a conversion from the website template over to a WordPress theme, a month or so after we worked out all the bugs from the website template development. But since I've been working on doing development for website speed optimization for the last year or so, I haven't been doing too many theme conversions over the last little bit. So Colin said, you know what? I'm going to do the WordPress theme development myself, and so he's spending a little bit of time learning how to do that. So when I was looking over his shoulder at his desk a little bit earlier on in the week, he decided to show me a little bit of what he's been working on. So he's actually been working on the development for the WordPress theme and the template in parallel, which is pretty exciting. So I thought I'd actually just show you a little bit of, this is sort of a snapshot. This is his prototype, so to speak, graphic sort of markup for the Oxygen design. Really sharp, very professional. You can use it for all sorts of different websites. And as I said, he's developing it for both a website template for Dreamweaver and Expression Web, as well as for a WordPress theme. So there you go. Anyways, so he's been working on that and unbelievably making, not unbelievably, because this guy is awesome, but he's been making great headway as well as being able to juggle all the phone calls that we've been having coming in. I mentioned last week was crazy busy on the phones. This week was insane. Sorry if we missed your call. Let's just put it that way. I know there was a number of calls we couldn't make it to, just because we were juggling all of the calls that were coming in. So if you ever do call in and you don't get us because it just goes right to voicemail, you can always reach us directly through our website, through our intercom chat system. You can reach that, just go to i3dthemes.com. It's usually a little chat bubble in the bottom right-hand corner of the page. Throw your message in there. If we're available, we'll answer right away. If we're not, just leave your email address and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. So that's what's been keeping Colin busy. And I had mentioned, some things that we're from last week's episode, webcast, I don't know, video, that we're sort of carrying over to this week. So last week, Google announced that the speed signal, sort of the flags of how well your website is, loading, how fast it's loading, is now going to be taken into consideration for how well your website is positioned in the mobile search index coming July. So this is much like when they said, hey folks, you need to make sure your websites are mobile responsive. This is years back. And then they finally did it, and people are like, oh no, my website's no longer, it's not showing up in search because it's not mobile friendly. This is the same sort of thing. They're giving you the heads up that this is going to become something that's part of their algorithm for mobile. It already is for desktop. Now, as more and more people are using mobile phones for search, I think globally it's somewhere around 60% of searches are done on a mobile device now. That is a bit skewed to different markets that have predominantly more mobile devices than desktops. But in North America, that number is on the rise. And so, as I said, over 60% of searches through Google are done on a mobile device. And Google being the predominant search engine, you really want to make sure that if they're saying you have to make sure that your websites are really, really fast and optimized for speed, that you should probably look into that. So that's what a lot of our efforts have been over the last 12 to 14 months, is that building tools that automate this process of optimizing a website for speed. We developed that developed the Numo Accelerator plugin last year for traditional websites, And then over the course of the last, I'm going to say it's 8 months or so, we developed a plugin for WordPress called Pegasus. Now, Pegasus is in continued development. It's actually probably surpassed the Numo Accelerator as far as features. We're going to try to bundle some of those technologies and features that we developed for the Pegasus system back into the Numo Accelerator. But right now we're just concentrating on getting Pegasus as robust as possible. And that's where I was mentioning last week that we're going to be developing some new features. One of those, this is one of the things, you know, people say, hey, yay, it's Friday, thank goodness. To me, it's like, thank goodness it's Monday. I've got some really great ideas that I want to implement. And that's really how, you know, we look at things. This isn't just our job. We don't just come into the office and go, oh, it's Monday morning, let's, you know, slog through this. No, this is what we live and breathe every day. And well, weekends are fun for having adventures and that sort of thing. We actually live for, you know, victories, whatever they are, whether they're on the weekend or during the week. And I think probably what I've been enjoying over the last, you know, 12 to 14 months is learning how to automate all of these different techniques that are required to make websites faster. And I would say this last week I had 3 major victories in that sort of arena. The first one was, now this is something where I actually want to show you the interface for Pegasus. I'm just going to scroll on over here in my little interface here. If you haven't seen the screenshots for Pegasus, this is sort of maybe your first look at it. Pegasus goes and takes a look at your entire website and gives you your page speed score before Accelerator is installed. And that's what you're looking at right there. And then over here, this is sort of a zoomed in, sort of gives you a snapshot of what your page speed score for your entire WordPress website after Accelerator. So it shows you the before and after. And it also gives you an idea for every individual page, and you can probably see that. Let's just see here, right about there. All those little green little bars there. It shows you what your actual score is for every single page in your WordPress website. And so many of these pages, and you'll notice that the score here, I'm going to see if I can point to it here, right there, it's about 98. Now we can get many web pages to 98, but it's the last 1 to 2% that tend to be a little bit tricky. Let's call it that. They've been sort of the smaller fish to fry, so to speak. We've concentrated on the big fish, which are like the image optimization, the render blocking resources, the minification, you know, server optimizations and browser caching. The things that, you know, if you don't tackle them, your score is going to be, you know, 50, 40, 30, 0. We've seen that. But it's when it gets to 98 and it's like, wow, that 100 is just about there. And so this week, the last 2 percentage points on a number of different web pages we solved. So instead of seeing 98, we're seeing 100s across the board for many of the web pages. And I would say probably close to like 90% of the pages that were getting 98 and 99 are now hitting 100. So that's really exciting. And that was no change, nothing that anybody that had Pegasus Accelerator installed had to do except just run the update, basically. Just run the update for the plugin. And that's just one click and then it's done. So that's really fantastic. So the other thing that I've been working on as far as features, there was actually 2 other things, and the other 2 victories, is the ability to serve your CSS and your JavaScript and your images as fast as possible. Like, I mean, when you optimize them, they are, you know, compressed, the file size is smaller, and they transfer faster from, you know, your website to your visitor. There are techniques, though, to make that happen even faster. One of them is by using what's called a content delivery network, a CDN. It's a service that you subscribe to, and magically your images and your resources for your web pages are delivered via a web server that is geographically closer to you. So say I have a website in the United States and you are in Australia. I would use a CDN system that had servers all over the globe, and if you requested my website, the images and CSS and JavaScript would be actually served from a server that was geographically close to you, like in Australia. So using a CDN is one aspect and one way of making sure that the content is delivered to you faster. And so we've been working on integrating this into the Pegasus accelerator system. It's something that we're going to offer as far as the Numo accelerator as well in the coming months, but it's actually just about there for the Pegasus system. In fact, beta testing, it works 100%. It's just how we're going to be integrating them into the existing installations that are already there. So that's fantastic. I don't actually have the benchmarks of how much faster it was delivering, but it was, because it all depends on where you're located and where the content delivery network servers are. But we've got that integrating into the Pegasus system already. Really exciting. And then this week, I decided to take a look at image optimization, because images are, by and large, the biggest thing that slows down web pages. It's just incredible. You can have a web page and drop a really large image in it, and it takes an extra 10 seconds to load because the image is way too large. And so making sure the images are sized appropriately and optimized appropriately is absolutely critical to how fast your web page is going to load. And Google looks at this and says, you're getting a 0 out of 100 because you have 25 images that are 10 times too larger than they need to be. So that's one of the keys to the Pegasus system, is that by turning on Pegasus, it just automatically optimizes your images. And the technology that we'd used in it is the same core module that we'd use in the Numo accelerator. So it's about 14 months old. And I decided it was time to revisit it, because I felt that there were some opportunities in decreasing the file size even more, as well as making the images clearer. Because when you overcompress images, it can make them grainy. Well, I think it was Wednesday, I decided that I was going to investigate this one particular image optimization mechanism. I started at 1 o'clock, and at 5 o'clock I had fully implemented, flipped the switch, and everybody was now using the new image optimization system just like that. So I was really excited that it only took 4 hours. It actually probably only took 3 hours, because I had to step out of the office to go run an errand across town and then come back. And so really only about 3 hours. But, I would have been happy had it taken me 3 days, but 3 hours is so much better. So that new feature, actually, it's not even a new feature, it's just a better version of the image optimization, is now fully integrated and automatically running in the Pegasus system. So if you are running Pegasus, your images are all now running through that system, and so they're pre-optimized. So that's what's been keeping me busy here in the Code Lab. I will say that now that Google is clearly stating that speed is going to be a metric and part of their algorithm for the rankings for mobile search, for your websites and mobile search, this is your opportunity to get it done ahead of time. If you're listening to this, get it done ahead of time before everybody else. One of the first things you can do is, if you just want to tackle a little bit at a time, you can manually go through and make sure you optimize all of your images in your website. That'll make a huge difference. Go to Google, type in your Google PageSpeed Insights, type in your website address, and see how that home page does. And if the home page is ranking pretty bad because the images are not optimized, take the 15-20 minutes and go through those images and optimize them. If you don't have 15 or 20 minutes, go and take a look at Pegasus. Go to pegasus.com, Pegasus, S-A-A-S. I'll put the link in the comments or description of this video. It only takes 5 minutes, and it does your image optimization, it does your render blocking resources, it does your minification, it does your critical path CSS, it does a whole schwackload of things. Basically, it takes a look at the entire concept of speed optimization and just applies it to your WordPress site. If you don't have WordPress and you just have a regular website, you can take a look at i3dthemes.com. We have the Numo accelerator there, and that again is, it actually takes about 10 minutes to set up, opposed to 5 minutes for the Pegasus accelerator. But even then, that's negligible compared to if you had to do things manually. We don't like to do anything manually here. Just automate it if we can. Anyways, thanks so much for joining me. I hope you've had a fantastic week. and you've got great plans ahead, maybe some adventures for the weekend. We'll talk to you again next week when we'll probably have some new screenshots of Colins' new oxygen template, and even some more information about some of the even more newer features that we've got coming down for website speed optimization. Anyways, thanks so much. Bye-bye.